Oh baby, UFC 319 is here. Khamzat Chimaev versus Dricus du Plessis. Finally, finally, the matchup that I have been fucking so hyped for the last while is finally fucking here. This card is actually seriously underrated, okay? I trashed on this card a bit, and I've seen another few people trash on this card. Very underrated card. Very, very underrated card. So, listen, full card breakdown, and I've been so charged, and I've been so hyped to make the full card breakdown on this. Let's talk about the main event. Let's talk about the main event, okay? So it's no secret that I've been picking DDP by accident. So he's just gonna fucking slip and then end up in like an armbar or something on Khamzat Chimaev. But I've been thinking a little bit more, okay? So by thinking a little bit more, I rewatched Derek Brunson versus Dricus du Plessis. And that really made me like, oh my god. Now, to be fair, this was the mythical fight of Dricus, like Dricus without a blocked nose. After Dricus done that, like he just started like finishing everyone. But my god, I really just thought that was the worst fight I have ever seen in UFC history. And that's not an exaggeration. That's not an exaggeration at all. Like, go back and watch that fight. Like, it was the worst fight in UFC history. Skill level, considering it was 5 versus 10, was absolutely insane. It was deplorable. It was a disgrace. I'm sick of Robbie. When is it going to end? Um, Now he's fighting someone completely different. This is Dricus du Plessis' hardest fight. I think we can all agree on that. The danger that Khamzat is going to bring into that cage in just the first minute, bro. The first 2 minutes are going to be incredibly dangerous. Now, I feel like I need to give Khamzat a bit of a benefit of the doubt with cardio. That's because I have been on that train of, okay, he has a round to finish Dricus or he's not going to win. And I kind of still do stand on that because until I see it in the cage, I never really bet on it. I don't care how many people, oh, he's never been in this good a shape before. I don't care, bro. I never ever fall for that shit, okay? Because it never works with me. It never works with me. And the garage, as cool as the garage is, and as fucking sweet as it is training in the garage, I need to see you in the cage, not the fucking garage, okay? If we look at this from a skill set, striking goes to Dricus, but everywhere else goes to Khamzat. Khamzat doesn't necessarily have good striking, I don't think. It's not that he's bad striking by any means, but I don't think Khamzat's got like incredible fucking striking. Or Dricus for that matter. I don't think any of them have great striking. Middleweight's quite limited. Middleweight's actually fucking shit, man. Middleweight's such a bad division, but the fact we have Dricus as champ kind of says everything. Like, he's just not that skillful. He just gets it done. That's the thing. And I wonder, I wonder the onslaught of strikers that Dricus has been fighting, where he's able to get the grappling edge, is that going to be shut down in this fight? Because he's not fighting a striker. He's fighting one of the most dominant grapplers that we have ever seen, and a force to be. If Khamzat Chimaev just goes in there and runs through Dricus du Plessis in the first round, let's say he just picks him up, slams him on his head, we are looking at the most dominant force in history of the UFC, hands down, the most dominant force in the history of the UFC. Nobody will come close to Khamzat Chimaev. Okay, yeah, Khabib had incredible grappling. Yes, Islam Makhachev has incredible grappling. No one has done that to Robert Whittaker. No one has done that to Kevin Holland. I know Rainer Derrid, but like, come on. Look at the way Khamzat did it. Do you know? And I know the Gilbert Burns fight. Yeah, I mean, you can't really say much more apart from it was a war. Do you know what I mean? It was an absolute war. But the lighter man skills, man. Welterweight's a way more skillful division than middleweight, so I can only go on what I know. Is that and the Kamaru Usman fight, that was a week's notice as well. But look at the positions Khamzat was getting Usman in the first round. Nobody's got Usman in those positions, period, bro. No one was nearly submitting Usman in the first round. Cool, Leon Edwards got his back in the first round. But there was never like, oh shit, he's going to finish him here. There was never that moment. Never that moment, okay? We are looking at, if he picks Dricus up and slams him, the most dominant force in UFC history. Nothing will stop him at middleweight. Nothing. And I mean nothing. If he slams Dricus in there in the first round and just picks him up and slams him on the ground, nobody's beating him. Nobody is beating him. And he's the most dominant force we have ever seen in middleweight history. UFC history, pound for pound. And I truly believe that. He's got his hands full though with Dricus. I always kind of thought Khamzat, it's one of those things where I'm looking at Khamzat from a skill point. I'm like, you're better than Dricus du Plessis. You're better than Dricus, but you have no gas tank after the second round. After the first round, you have no gas tank. That is an incredibly dangerous thing to bet on. Am I the only one that thinks that? Betting heavily on a fighter to pick up a UFC world champion, slam him on his head, and finish him in the first round because he has no gas tank in the second onwards is a very dangerous thing to bet on. I just thought that earlier. I just thought that. I was like, hold on a minute. Dricus isn't that skillful. Khamzat is skillful. Dricus has good gas tank. Now, I wouldn't necessarily say. See, the thing is, Dricus looks like he's tired all the time. So it's kind of hard to tell when he actually is tired, okay? Maybe at the end of, the Strickland 1 fight, kind of maybe not as sharp as the first round, but that's kind of guaranteed, you know what I mean? You're in a 25-minute fight. I have no issue with Dricus' gas tank. I don't think gassing out was going to be an issue for Dricus at all. I'm not looking at this fight thinking, oh, Dricus might gas out later on as well, so Khamzat might get him there. No, I'm not thinking that at all. Dricus' gas tank is set. But there is one thing. There is one thing I did consider. Khamzat's first round barrage is going to tire Dricus du Plessis a lot. A lot, bro. And the way Dricus has not fought someone like this, and he's not seeing a lick like this. He just hasn't, bro. And that's why I'm thinking maybe Khamzat Chimaev might win. But I just can't bet against Dricus. I can't. Like I said on my TikTok, if any of you watch my TikTok, regardless of any outcome of this fight, there will be zero outcome. And I don't care if Khamzat 50-45s him in a decision and holds him down. Don't care. There will be no outcome where I'm surprised. There's not one outcome. If Dricus flying knee KOs him like Ben Askren, I won't be surprised. Big up Ben Askren. Yeah, I didn't mean that. But fuck, I didn't mean that, but Ben Askren got flying knee. That's all. If Dricus did that, I would not be surprised. If Khamzat did that, I would not be surprised. If Khamzat landed a Yair Rodriguez spinning back elbow on Korean Zombie, I wouldn't be surprised. And especially if Dricus did that. So there's no outcome I'm going to be surprised by. Khamzat's got a kind of short-lived middleweight career. You know what I mean? Like, it's been Usman and Whitaker. So the once-a-year thing isn't going to be playing in his factor. He has been inactive. He hasn't fought since last October. It makes sense he's fighting Dricus. I feel like Dricus' striking, blitzing forward movement is going to be effective if he is allowed to fucking get there. If he's allowed to get there. Because Khamzat can pick him up and smash him in the first round. If you rewatch that Derek Brunson fight, Dricus' grappling was so wank. It was so wank, bro. It was so wank. And I have a hard time unseeing that. I have a hard time unseeing that. Genuinely have a hard time unseeing that. So, as regards how I kind of see the fight playing out, I don't know, bro. It's such a tricky one. So, what I'm probably edging towards, not like that now, not like that maybe, but I kind of feel like Khamzat's going to go in there and do his thing. Khamzat's going to go in there and pick Dricus up. It's up to Dricus du Plessis to not get finished. This whole thing of, oh no, I'm not gonna get taken down. Don't even go in there with that mindset because you've already failed. You're going to get finished, in my opinion, if you go in there with that mindset. Go in there with the mindset of, I have 5 minutes to survive. Fuck the first round. I got 4 quality rounds, which he's shown he can't last in. I'm telling you now, if you just sacrifice the first round, you have 20 minutes to get going. The barrage Khamzat is going to bring to Dricus he's never seen before. And that's a fact. And I feel like the way the fight will play out, Khamzat's going to go in and shoot his takedown. It's either going to go, he'll get him up against the cage, kind of drag Dricus down, take his back and submit him in the first minute or two. Or he could get his back, not submit him. But I feel like if Khamzat's on your back, I feel like you're kind of fucked. I genuinely think you're kind of fucked. The thing is, I think it's a 50-50 Dricus gets finished in the first round. I genuinely think it's 50-50. Yes or no? Oh, obviously, but like, I think it's, I genuinely could see him getting finished in the first round. But I've learned never to bet against Dricus in my life. And I learned that in the Strickland fights. I bet on Dricus on both of those fights because I knew he was better than Strickland. So let's say Dricus survives the onslaught. That's when you get your striking going in the second round. That's when you get the forward pressure going in the second round. That's when you can cause damage. Even shoot on Khamzat of your own in the second or third round. I seen MMA Guru and fucking hell, bedtime MMA Listen, I watch a load of UFC MMA tubes. I love them, bro. They're the reason I start this shit because I just look at them and think, holy shit, I can do that too. Bedtime MMA is picking Hamza by decision. That's insane. That is insane. But that dude never gets predictions wrong. So I'm never going to say a bad word about bedtime. How do you do, bedtime crew? I'm never going to say a bad word about him because he just gets predictions right. So fuck knows with bedtime picking Hamzat. Now maybe I might change, but the more Dricus stays on the feet after the first round, the more chance and the better I think the fight's going to get for Dricus. He has 5 minutes to defend, 5 minutes to save his career, 5 minutes to save this fight. The menacing force that is Khamzat Chimaev can absolutely finish from the first. So if I'm going to make a prediction, I'm going to stick with what I said, and I'm going to go with a Dricus du Plessis round 4 TKO. I just feel like Khamzat will gas, Dricus will find the shots, and he'll be able to get it done. Co-main event. Here we go. All these wannabe hardcore Bellator MMA fans saying, oh, this is the real deal. Aaron Pico's the real deal. No, he's not. Aaron Pico is far from the real deal. If you're a hardcore MMA fan, name me one. Do you think Pedro Carvalho is going to be a UFC top 5 fighter? That guy isn't even a Bellator top 10 fighter. Okay? Aaron Pico has been beating up Bellator cans his whole career, and he never got the belt in fucking Bellator either. He's lost fights in Bellator, so don't even give me that. He's just menacing force that was on his way to the top, and now Michael Venom Page is a different beast simply because his striking cannot be replicated. There's fucking nothing about Aaron Pico that can't be replicated. Okay, fucking nothing. And Michael Venom Page lost to Douglas Lima. He avenged it, and he lost to Logan Storley. Lost. He won that fight. So don't even play that card. Don't even play the MVP card. He's a different beast. He's got a style that cannot be replicated. Okay, fucking absolutely nothing about Aaron Pico has never not been in the UFC. We've seen geezers like him for years, fucking years. Josh Emmett would beat Aaron Pico. Josh Emmett would beat Aaron Pico. I'm fucking saying it now. Listen, Aaron Pico has definitely got good hands and he's got good grappling. I'm not denying that. Like he's load of finishes on his record. But who are you finishing? Who are you beating? You're beating B League competition. Look at his resume and tell me there's one name in there that's going to give Lerone Murphy a good run for his money. Never mind fucking beat him. Lerone Murphy would starch every single one that fucking Aaron Pico fought. And he lost to people in Bellator, bro. I've seen Aaron Pico fight live, which is pretty cool because he is a very good fighter. And he was this kind of touted prospect for so long in the sport of like, oh yeah, man, like Pico, man, he's a fucking dog, man. I don't, I don't get it, bro. He's fighting Bellator. Michael Chandler and Patchy Mix have ruined people coming over to the UFC for me. Because anytime I see a Bellator, and I know Volkov was Bellator, but Volkov's, I'll get to that in a minute. Any fighter that comes over now, I'm just kind of thinking, no, like, no, you're not. You're fucking shit. You're Bellator. You're B League. I don't want to see you in the UFC. That's genuine, I think, because you're just not good enough. Bellator fighters are just simply not good enough for the UFC. The top of the UFC shits all over the top of Bellator. It's not even. It's not even close. It's not comparable. No one cares about Bellator. No one cares about Bellator at all, bro. At fucking all. Okay, that's the thing. Like Bellator is a dead organization, but stylistically, I think Lerone Murphy's just too good. I think Lerone Murphy deserves to be in this position. He's a top 7 featherweight in my opinion. You know, he'll probably fall short against like an Arnold Allen. You know, he's number 6 at the moment. I would have loved to see like Lerone Murphy versus Giga Chikadze or an Arnold Allen. That would have been good. Aaron Pico's definitely got good hands and he's got good grappling, but Lerone Murphy's got good takedown defense. I remember he fought a Santos fella. I think his name was Santos, the Brazilian guy on short notice on the Usman versus Edwards 3 card. And I had a little bit of doubts about how good Lerone Murphy was then. But, you know, picking up wins against like Josh Emmett, I know he didn't do it in the greatest fashion, but he still did a pretty good job. Then you beat people like Edson Barboza as well in a very good striking fashion. You know, so I think Lerone Murphy's striking's getting a lot better. I think he's got good takedown defense in this fight, so Pico's not going to be able to get started. I feel like Lerone Murphy will just kind of piece him up on the feet. I think he'll have his way. I just don't ever come at me with this Bellator bullshit, man. Don't ever come at me with Bellator bullshit. Okay, Lerone Murphy's going to go in there and school Aaron Pico. He's going to go in there and shut him down. Like the big Patricio Pitbull, the Pitbull brothers, Patricio, whichever the fuck one it was, came over And then your Yair Rodriguez absolutely smacked them. Absolutely smacked them around the fucking park. Didn't even have to try in that fight. That's the level that we're fighting. Do you know what I mean? I don't, man, please don't give me this Aaron Pico's different level bullshit. Like, I just will not accept it. So, I'm going to go with Lerone Murphy via decision on this one. I don't think Lerone Murphy has much finishing potential, so I don't think he's going to be able to finish Aaron Pico. I would love to see him finish Aaron Pico because Aaron Pico's going at Volkanovski. And if you know Volk, if you know this channel, and you know my love for Volk, going at Volk is cardinal sin number one. You don't fuck with Volk under any circumstances. I don't care what he did. He was right to do it, okay? So, yeah, Lerone Murphy be a decision, 30-27. Next up, two banger fights here, man. This card is actually stacked. So, Jeff Neal versus Carlos Prates. This is a good fight. I'm going to be picking Carlos Prates in this fight. I feel like Carlos Prates is very good at range, and I feel like Carlos Prates is just a little bit more dangerous than Jeff Neal. Jeff Neal's definitely more of a decision fighter. Okay, cool, he fucking knocked out Vicente Luque and had a war with Shavkat, which got submitted in standing rear naked choke, which is extremely impressive. Cooley's had all those moments in his career. I'm betting on what I know in this fight. And Carlos Prates, you need to get your fucking act together. You need to get your act together. Stop fucking smoking so many fucking cigarettes. Jesus Christ, man. Why do you do that? Cool, it's gangster and, whatever. No one cares, first of all. But cool, it's a nice little promotion, but sort it out, man. You are literally one of the most touted prospects in that division. Everyone loves you, bro. Get it together, but I feel like Prates is going to find range in this fight. I feel like he's going to get a bit of a flow going. He's got fucking long limbs, man. Those arms, he's got good reach. Jeff Neal's definitely got good hands. I just think Carlos Prates will counter him. I can just so see a counter shot. Maybe a counter hook or a counter right hand. Jeff Neal coming in the first round. And I'm going to go with a Carlos Prates first round TKO. I really am. I feel like this could be a bit of a statement win for Prates to get back in here. Jeff Neal's a good formidable opponent. He's kind of fell off a little bit. He's a fucking waiter now, which is just fucking weird in my opinion. Like, you're a UFC top 10 fighter. Under no circumstances should you be a waiter. But he said he enjoyed it, so fair enough, to be fair. But yeah, Prates, I feel like he'll be able to find a counter. I feel like Jeff Neal definitely moves in quite well. He's got good movement, but I feel like that's gonna be where Prates finds his shots. And I feel like Prates will get that. I'm going to go with a Carlos Prates first round TKO on that one. Next up, the people's main event. Jared Cannonier versus Michael Venom Page. Big fan of MVP. Have been for a long time. I was going to go over and see his fight in England against the undefeated fella's name from Ukraine. I can't remember how to say it off the top of my head. If you know, you know. I was going to go over and see him. Then the whole war in Russia, with Russia and Ukraine started, so that kind of got scrapped. He fought Logan Storley, and I believe that was the last fight in the promotion. Actually, I can't remember MVP's last fight in Bellator, but this is an interesting fight. I've said this so many times on this channel, and I will continue to say it, that Michael Venom Page is not losing to anybody, pound for pound, in a striking fight. There's not a person alive. Ian Gary found that out real quick. He turned into a wrestler. Kevin Holland found that out. He fucking slapped Sharon Magomedov around the gaff. And I called that. That was a great prediction for me. I called that fight so perfectly. You cannot stand with MVP. It's simple as that. I'm not saying you have to go in shooting takedowns. But what Jared Cannonier should do, and probably will do after he realizes he can't hang with MVP on the feet, he'll resort to cage control. A lot of fighters do this, and I feel like it's a bit of a shit way to win. But I genuinely just see Cannonier hold them up against the cage. I really do. Cannonier obviously is mostly a striker. It's rare we see Cannonier actually shoot for takedowns, okay? But I've rewatched a few of his fights. Imavov, Baraujo. We could have beaten Baraujo as well, man. Baraujo, Adesanya as well. Does a good bit of work up against the cage. Likes holding his opponents up against the cage. And I've seen, even the Logan Storley fight that Michael Venom Page had, I've seen him get held up against that cage. So that does worry me a bit. Just about, like, I'd hate to see MVP lose to a cage control decision. That would be so wank. That would be so wank, bro. And I like Michael Venom Page a lot. I think he's a class act. I've been watching him for years. You know, I've watched him way before he fought in the UFC. You know, this guy, that's not even a flex because MVP was the biggest name outside the organization. I never thought I'd see the day he actually signed to the UFC. I did not think that would ever happen. I picked him to beat Ian Gary. The way I said MVP would win the fight actually happened, but just Ian Gary turned into a wrestler because he kind of realized that MVP is a different level above. If you go rewatch that second fight, if Ian Gary stood there with Michael Venom Page for 15 minutes, there would have been no question who the winner was. Absolutely none, bro. There would have been no question. MVP would have absolutely smoked him. He smokes everyone on the feet, and there's no one that beats MVP in a stand up. No one. The only person I could think of that could have come close is Wonderboy, and he's kind of finished. No one beats MVP in the stand up, okay? Carlos Prates could be a winner. The Definitely Carlos Prates could be the next fight for MVP because I know he wants to go down, but I really hope Jared Cannonier doesn't hold him up against the cage, but I think he will. I think he's going to turn into a cage control fighter real quick. Maybe MVP might hurt him with like a knee or something in the first round. The thing about MVP is every time I'm watching him, I'm on the edge of my seat as if he's going to land something huge and just viral KO someone, but he never really does, if we're being honest. You know what I mean? He's got some good moments where he broke that guy's skull and stuff like that. That's a pretty fucking sweet moment. But MVP never really finishes people. So I don't really see him finishing Jared Cannonier. You know, as much as Cannonier has been finished before, I feel like these middleweights are a lot more hard hitting, and MVP wasn't really finishing people at welterweight. So I'm not going to be picking him to finish Jared Cannonier at middleweight, especially since Cannonier is a heavyweight as well. So it's going to be a lot stronger than MVP in there. But I'm going to go with Jared Cannonier via decision. I just feel like cage control. But if MVP is able to get out under the cage, make no mistake, Jared Cannonier is completely fucked. Completely fucked. But he'll turn into a grappler real quick. He'll turn into a grappler real quick, in my opinion. They always do. Tim Elliott versus Kai Asakura, and we have Bobby Green in there as well. This is a weird fight. Let me bring that up one more. This is a weird fight. I think Kai Kerr is going to knock out Tim Elliott. Tim Elliott should be retired. You know, Tim Elliott's a G. Like, he's fought everyone, basically. Like, you know what I'm saying? So there's not much to be said here apart from Kai Kerr is going to KO him. I like Kai Kerr. I didn't give him a chance against Pantoja. I feel like anyone who actually watched, you know, the UFC understood that that was like a hype fight build, but Pantoja was winning every single day of the week. And I picked him via second round submission. He submitted him in the second round. Very happy with that prediction. But yeah, Tim Elliott's going to get chinned here. He's a bit old. I don't really see Tim Elliott. You know, he could do well with the grappling. You know, he even had like Roy Val before Roy Val submitted Tim Elliott. Like, Tim Elliott was definitely having his way on the ground. So that's something to take control of. That Tim Elliott could maneuver his way and beat Kaya Sakura via just control, but I feel like Kaya Sakura is just too good with the striking. Tim Elliott is a bit of a veteran. You know, he's a good fighter. But I don't think he's in that stage of his career to where he's going to be a touted prospect like Kaya Sakura. I just don't think so, bro. So, Kaya Sakura's done good things in like Rising and stuff like that, but you know, he's beating like Maynard Cape and stuff like that. Maynard Cape beat him as well too. So that's a good little rivalry there. That could be one that's ran back. I'm not sure if he did actually beat Maynard Cape. I know Maynard Cape beat him. So that's another one to consider. The fact Kai Secure has done it outside the UFC in certain promotions. But then again, it's like Bellator. I'm never gonna bet on a fighter coming over. This doesn't happen. Does not happen. Never will. And I feel like Kai Secure will get this one done via TKO. That's the main card. So the kind of meat and bones of the fight are gone, but still got two decent fights here. Listen, Bobby Green is cooked. Bobby Green is cooked. I'm never to be honest with you. After seeing what fucking Ferreira did to fucking, you know, Bobby Green, the spinning back heel kick was just some of the nastiest shit I have ever seen. And Diego Ferreira, you're not even that good. You're not even that good, if I'm being honest with you. But I'm going to be picking Diego Ferreira simply because I think Bobby Green's just getting chin after chin. You know what I mean? Loses so badly to Paddy Pimblett. I can't bet on Bobby Green. Do you know what I mean? It is a very close fight, though. You know, like Bobby Green might win, but I'm picking Diego Ferreira. I'm picking Diego Ferreira. Just simply because I cannot pick, after what Rufy did to him, I just can't pick Bobby Green to fight again. I love Bobby Green though. He's such a G. I love him. He's an absolute legend. But yeah, we're not gonna be picking Bobby Green on that one, unfortunately. He's gonna get decisions on that one. Gerald Meerschaert versus Michael Olskachia. Um, good fight. This I'll probably pick. You know what? I'll probably pick Michael in this one. I feel like he'll. Oh, my bad. I feel like he'll have probably a little bit too much on the feet. I don't really rate Gerald Meerschaert too highly. I don't know how anyone does. Fucking Jessica Andrade is on every single UFC card. Like you gotta respect it, but still, I feel like Michael will get this one done via decision. I feel like this could be a boring stand-up fight where he just kind of uses moments of grappling to get the decision in there. Again, this is one of those fights not many people care about, so I'm not going to spend an awful long time talking about it. Jessica Andrade versus Lupi Godinez. I'll pick Jessica Andrade on this one. Usually, when a fighter fights that far down, they're trying to boost someone up to the top, and use their kind of clout that their ranking has. But I'll pick Jessica Andrade in this one. Lupi Godinez, she's pretty decent. I mean, like, listen, bro. Like, do I even need to say any more about this fight? Women's strawweight fight. WMA fights are just so boring to watch. Jessica Andrade via decision is probably the best bet. I want to talk about Chase Hooper versus Alexander Hernandez. Bro, this card is fucking stacked. I can't even lie. But I'm going to be picking Chase Hooper in this one. Chase Hooper's really come into himself the last couple of years. And I feel like if you look at the way Chase Hooper kind of rose on the Contender Series, it was kind of, he wasn't necessarily the next or the OG Sean O'Malley, but he was like 18 and he was on the Contender Series. Bro, I was doing my exams when I was fucking 18, bro. It's not even funny, but Chase Hoover's really come into himself when he moved up to lightweight. I feel like that was kind of the best decision that he ever made moving up because I don't know, like he was just a lanky featherweight and he just looked weak as a fucking kitten in there. Do you know what I mean? He just didn't seem to have any strength, didn't seem to have any power on his punches. Just was kind of in there. He was kind of like just completely weight trained. Completely weight trained. Alexander Hernandez was kind of on the trajectory up till he fought Cerrone, and Cerrone just kind of slapped him about, which is kind of like, I used to think this guy was a bit of a fucking douchebag. If I'm being honest with you, I just thought this guy was so fucking annoying. I thought he was so fucking annoying. He did chat a load of shit, so it did make it entertaining when he fought Cerrone. But then he got chinned and stuff like that. So, yeah, I feel like Alexander Hernandez is kind of just past it. I feel like this is a good style for Chase Hooper to use his grappling. His striking's definitely come into it a bit, but, the grappling's where it's at for Hooper. He's extremely dangerous on the ground. I like Chase Hooper in this fight. I feel like he'll get this one done. I really want to see Chase Hooper just kind of kick on now. Do you know what I mean? I feel like he's been a touted prospect for so long, and I'm kind of like bored of seeing Chase Hooper on a prelim. I want to see Chase Hooper in main events. I want to see Chase Hooper against ranked opponents. He's been in lightweight like 2.5 years now, 2 years maybe, something like that. And I want to see him in there against good fucking fighters. I want to see him really climb the ranks. I want to see him do well, but he just does well. Looks like he's improving a lot, then loses. I feel like that's the fucking name of the game with Chase Hooper, bro. We think he just goes far and then loses. I don't know. He seems to be like a 2 or 3 fight win streak. I'm like, oh shit, Chase Hooper's really improving here. And then he fucking gets finished, bro. He gets finished, but yeah, I'm going to go with Chase Hooper via second round submission on that one, maybe even first round. Next up, Edson Barbosa versus Drakkar Klose. Bit of an OG scrap this, to be fair. Edson Barbosa is kind of like, he is one of the OGs of the entire game, if I'm being honest with you. I'll pick Edson Barbosa in this one. It's quite a close fight. Like, Edson's obviously one of the best strikers we've ever seen in the sport. One of the most accurate, sharp, quick, powerful for his speed. Edson Barbosa was an absolute beast. But he is in the kind of later stages of his career. Dricus Close, I haven't seen an awful lot about him, so I'm not going to sit here and say know what I'm talking about when it comes to each individual thing about him. I always say just grapple against Edson Barbosa is always a good play. I really think it's always a good play. I don't ever think standing up against Edson Barbosa is a good idea. So I'm going to be going with Edson Barbosa on that one. Next up, I'll go with Edson Barbosa via decision. Brian Battle. Oh my lord, that shrimp. Brian Battle. fuck me, man. You're so good on the feet, and he's going to be taking on Nuroslav Rizabov. I'm going to go with Brian Battle. Fuck it, man. I'm going to go with Brian Battle. I have faith. I have faith. Brian Battle's got such good hands. He's sharp with his movement. I remember the Randy Brown fight. I was just so, bro. No, I'm gonna be honest with you. Ever since he fought in France and went mad on the mic, I've just had so much respect for Brian Battle. Like I really have. I've had so much respect. I love this dude on the mic, and even if he loses a million times, like I'm still gonna back Brian Battle. And I watched him in the Ultimate Fighter. It was the fucking Ortega Volkanovski one. That was the last good Ultimate Fighter, for being honest with you, bro. The McGregor one was kind of wank. The UFC's really just taken a hit, hasn't it? But I'll go with Brian Battle. I feel like his boxing's going to be a bit too much in this fight. I feel like he's going to be able to find the range. As long as he gets keep it standing, keep Ruzabov up against the cage, I feel like he'll have, his way. But as we can see, the rest of the fight card is, really fucking stacked and no one cares about who. I've no idea who these two are. Okay, they're making their debut, so I'm not even going to bet on that. We'll go with Karina Silva on that one. And that guy's making a debut, so we'll go with Joseph Morales. But 319 is the last pay per view that we have for almost 2 months now, which is quite sad. The next pay per view, actually, it's over 2 months, I think. The next pay per view that we have is Tom Aspinall versus Gan, which is really sad because where's our pay per view in September? We always get September pay per view, but no, Canelo versus fucking Crawford's on instead. Absolute bullshit, but this man right here is going to get the job done. I truly believe in Dricuss Plessis. Maybe it's the last thing I'll ever do is bet on Dricuss Plessis. But let me know what you think about this card down below. And thanks for watching.